was a movie with
No
Cher
one
and
watches
Nicolas
that movie.
Cage.
Anytime you give me a reference that I've never heard of, I just let you know that no one watches that.
No.
In case you were curious.
Apparently, I watch it.
All right. Check the QoS, everybody. Check your QoSs.
Check.
All right, we are rolling. What did you just drop?
I dropped the candle.
Oh.
Did it break?
No, that's why we have rubber on the floor.
Woo!
Nice job, Nicole.
Whew.
So the danger
Don't
of
worry,
this
Sheppard.
the danger of this cover
I got
is you can't see the holes. There's gaps.
Well, no, I didn't see the edge.
I spilled my coffee there many times. Well, that's how the show's going to start today. Yeah, baby. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. It's Friday Live. I'm Mark.
I'm Nicole.
And we're going to do a show, a
Yes.
2020 version of the show.
2020.
I'm starting this year a little more subdued.
A little more nauseous.
A little nauseous today. A little more relaxed. I'm sitting. I'm in a seated position today.
I like it.
And the camera's a little bit closer, so it's a little more up close and personal. The beard is in because I haven't been in the shop at all, so I don't have to wear a respirator. And so 2020 is off to a roaring start.
I'm all nervous because of the candle.
Well, you should be. We'll talk about those candles
Yes.
in a minute. So as if I wasn't here the whole time, how was your break? How was your holiday break, Nicole?
It went by pretty fast. I was like, oh, the kids go back to school on Monday.
Oh, I know. That's when the true vacation begins, my friends.
I love the meme that goes around that says, it's really not until you're on break that you realize how underpaid teachers are.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely. And so we are going to start with a great new year this year. We've got some accomplishments to talk about. Nicole posted these, and I posted them as well on Instagram. But I think it's really important at the end of the year to kind of take inventory, take stock of what you've accomplished.
I love that it's very important, and this is the first time we've ever done it.
No, we do it all the time.
No, we don't. We don't do this.
We've done it all the time since last year. And I mean last year is in the end of 2019.
We're doing it a whole year.
No, I actually do like to do this at the end of every year is look at what I've done, especially in the world of content creation and making content online. It's an environment that is so thirsty for stuff, they will take as much as you could throw at it. So when you're in a position of making this content, you can always feel like you've never done enough. And I do. And YouTube tells me this, that I don't do enough. So it's kind of fun to look at the numbers and actually see what have we accomplished in the past year. So here's just some of the things that I came up with. The Guild, you know what that is, right? The Wood Whisperer Guild.
Yeah, we give a project out at the end of the show.
A free project at every show. The Guild released 8 courses with multiple guest instructors and a total of 110 videos.
Woo!
And I think when
that's not impressive. What's the minutes on that?
I didn't want to calculate all the minutes because they are long videos.
Yeah.
But 110 videos, that's insane. That's an insane amount of content. This does, of course, include 80 videos, all from Cremona's tea box. So you got to account for that.
The tea box.
The spice box.
The spice box. The never-ending spice tea box.
But still, 110 videos?
That's awesome.
Like, if you wonder what we're doing all the time, that's probably what we're doing.
Yeah.
So relevant to this show, we only missed about like 5, what's the math on that? 5 or 6, maybe 5 videos for Friday Live.
52 weeks in a year.
52 minus 47. So we did 47 Friday Lives. That's pretty good for a show that nobody even watches. I mean, that's dedication.
There's a ton of people. There's 315 people in the chat. And a lot of people watch it after the fact, too.
Yeah.
I get a lot of nice emails.
But still, 47 out of 52 weeks in a year, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say.
Okay. Let me continue with my stats here. We did release 21 free videos. Nice. And I think if you compare that to years past, that's actually a really good rate for us on the free site. I built 20 projects, with Jason's help this year. We knocked out. A lot of them were Jason's. Yeah, some of them were for Jason's house. 20 projects. And that, again, we're not creating napkin holders. Until we do.
Until I ask for one.
Until she asks for one.
Give me a nice napkin holder.
We're doing.
Actually, I would like to replace the napkin holder on my.
Okay, I'll work on that. But we do make full-scale furniture, and we try to put as much, love and attention into it as possible. These aren't quick throwaway weekend projects necessarily. And making 20 of them in a year while doing all these other things, I think that's pretty good. 20. Essential joinery. How many copies do you think that sold? What do you think about those?
2 copies.
More
Me
than
and
2.
You.
And my mom bought 2.
Your mom bought.
So 4. We are almost at 15,000. I was told that I could use the number 15,000 because it's close enough. 15,000 copies. And you know how much the average American book sells in the U.S.?
You've told me.
I don't remember.
I kind of tune them out.
I think like 250 copies, or 3,000 over its lifetime.
3,000,
like
yeah, something like that.
Something like 3,000 copies. So for a silly little woodworking book, I think that's okay. And also, I think most importantly, we raised over $18,000 for the Woodworkers Fighting Cancer charity this year. So super stoked about that.
We even had a gift come in the other day to the charity page after you posted
when
that.
I mentioned something about it, yeah.
Yeah, you can still donate. It's at woodworkersfightingcancer.com. There's a link on that page to the to CRI, the charity.
So one thing I wanted to mention here, and the reason I like to do this is, we are a culture that never really enjoys our victories. We set goals. Even if we reach those goals, what do? We set the next goal. It's sort of this rat race mentality, and it's good in some ways because a lot of us can be overachievers. But when you never take time to enjoy your victories and just sit back and go, man, this was good. We did a good thing here. I think it really takes away, and it strains you mentally. It's difficult to keep going. What was it? The Happiness something. There was a book I read called like the Happiness Solution or something like that. Anyway, the guy used this analogy of the goalpost, right? So you finally reach that goalpost, but every time you reach it, you kick the ball through, then the goalpost moves 10 yards. You never reach the goalpost. And that's really just an unhealthy mindset. You can move the goalpost, but maybe enjoy that victory for a little while.
It's
and
the
then
beginning,
move
it's
the
the beginning of the
goalpost.
year. It's a good time.
It's a good time to take stock. What did you accomplish?
I should have gone through all my quilts that I made.
You should have. You actually were very productive when it comes to quilts. So anyway, that's the year in review for the Wood Whisperer team.
Yay!
It's all good stuff. Quick reminder, if you are interested in one of those silly Bubinga t-shirts, those are still available at the woodwhispererguild.com/store, I believe is the link.
That is the link.
And you could order that until, I think, Sunday, my mom said.
Is it Sunday?
We said we would close off pre-orders, but she's actually not placing the order till Monday.
Okay.
So this is a last-minute chance you got to get in there and get that t-shirt.
Bubinga.
Bubinga. If you are interested in that.
I'll put the link in the chat. Somebody asked speaking of t-shirts, someone asked what your shirt says.
It's a advertisement to visit Tatooine.
Tatooine.
Yeah. It's actually an old shirt, but Star Wars is like on everybody's mind now, so I'm wearing it. And on a much sadder note, last Friday Live, we were talking about Charles Neal's shop and how he's selling off some of his tools, and we were just letting people know that those are available, and I believe he's in Virginia. So they were having almost like just a sell-off of all of his stuff. And we speculated because we didn't know what was going on with his health or anything like that. And as it turns out, he
passed away.
He was having some health problems, and he did pass away.
On December 21st.
Okay, so our condolences to Charles' family and friends who are close with him. We are one of the many people who have been inspired by his work over the years. And I even said after, excuse me, after we had that conversation, I said, geez, it almost felt like a eulogy, what I had said. And I'm like, I don't even know this guy's situation right now. I should give him a call or find out or send him an email. And then we get this unfortunate news. So if I did say a lot about Charles in the last show, so go back and look at that.
Which show? It wasn't
the
last one.
I think it was the
one.
I thought it was just the last one. No, the last one was a Christmas show.
Yes.
So the one before the Christmas show, I gave a lot of my feelings about Charles and how much respect I have for the man.
I actually went through his YouTube channel. He posted his first video in 2007.
Yeah, he was right there with us at the very beginning. So again, our hearts go out to his family and friends. And there is a GoFundMe set up because we're in America and the medical system sucks. That's not political commentary, that's just facts.
It's fact.
And I'm sure they have incredible bills dealing with his health issues.
Funeral.
And also expenses related to the funeral. So that's we're going to put the GoFundMe link in the show notes, and Nicole also put that in the chat if you guys want to contribute.
And it has more of his story too. So if you're not familiar with Charles, follow the link, look at his history. He has an amazingly full YouTube channel.
He's also one of those guys where, if there are people who maybe we started in 2006, but then just kind of kept doing the same thing and never really evolved to that next level. And that's what happens on the internet. You have to evolve to the next level. Instagram comes up. You can't just go, that's stupid, I'm not going to do that. You have to, if you want to keep growing and bringing in new people, you have to make yourself known in these new places. And I don't think Charles really worked that hard to do that necessarily.
Well, he also did a lot of classes.
Well, he had classes.
Well,
here's the thing.
Stuff.
He ran a real woodworking business,
exactly.
right? His priorities are elsewhere. He had a lot of products. And I did not mean that to be a criticism by any means. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is if you are not in front of people constantly, the trail of how people learn things can be lost easily. So there are a lot of people who learn from Charles who then went on to make their own channels and their own videos and are passing on his techniques, but people who are watching them have no idea what that paper trail is. Paper trail, quote unquote.
So I did put a link in the chat for the episode that we talked. It was called "They Don't Like My Beaver." That was the name of the title.
They don't like my beaver?
They don't like my beaver. But around the 56-minute mark is when we talk about Charles.
Good.
And we linked to his guild interview because you did interview him in the guild. So take a listen.
It's good stuff. Yeah, and so again, our thoughts are with his family. So if you can help out, please do. That'd be great. All right, and we have something to show.
Oh, yeah.
From someone sent us some cool stuff.
I got a nice package from Sheppard. He's a guild member, and he's also in the chat. And he makes candles, and he sent me some of his candles.
These candles smell amazing.
Well, when I picked it up at UPS, I was like, ooh, this smells good.
The whole box.
The whole box.
Just smelled like a Bath and Body Works.
So he makes these candles, and I love them. And he wasn't my Secret Santa for our guild Secret Santa gift exchange, but this is my present because my Secret Santa never sent me anything.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And that's okay.
Is it though? Is it really?
It is. It is okay. So
these are great.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to rub them in my armpits. They smell so good.
I don't think it's meant for deodorant.
It could work that way.
Sheppard, I just wanted to say thank you, and for the adorable card too.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
They're huge too. That's going to take forever.
Well, and I got two down there that I need to find a home for.
Yeah. All right. Should we get into some questions? Or?
Well, do we have any Patreon thank yous?
Oh shoot, we got one. So yeah, we do this whole Patreon thing, and you can help support the show. Excuse me, by going to patreon.com/woodwhisperer, and we have one person to add to that list, Larry Grice.
Larry.
So thank you so much, Larry. We appreciate your support. If you do support us on Patreon, of course, we do appreciate it. You get our thanks on the show when you do that, but also you can ask questions every week. So
at the $5 mark.
At the $5 mark, is it? So Nicole puts up a post, and then you're able to leave a question, which I then answer on the show.
Yep.
All the rest of the questions today will come from the chat room on YouTube. All right.
Nick Silva just asked, how do you get in on the Guild Secret Santa? It was a post that I put up in the Guild Facebook group. So
yeah,
it was a pin post for like 2 months.
Honestly, we probably rely on the Guild Facebook group.
No, I also put
little too much.
I put it in the newsletter too.
Yeah, that's
so if
true.
you're a Guild member and you're not getting the newsletter,
what's wrong with you?
It's probably in your spam folder.
Yeah.
Because that's what
the newsletter is. Our primary contact method for the Guild and communication method, and then we use Facebook for quite a bit of it too.
Yep.
Okay. First question I have here is from Aaron Pena.
Aaron.
Did he say that I pronounced that correctly?
Pena.
Pena. He says, can you talk a little bit about table and bench vices? I've seen several different types, some that mount to the top of the bench, some to the side. I'm looking to add something pretty basic to my bench as I try to expand my woodworking skills into some more hand tools. All right, so I cannot give you a full review of the world of bench vices. That's a very big topic. If you're just getting started, I think something that is a good way to begin, that's what I had in the beginning, is a simple quick release vise. You can mount them on just about any workbench surface. You could add dog holes across the surface. They usually have a little retractable dog in the face of the vise. And you could even line the vise face with wood if you want something that's a little more gentle, if you don't want the metal contact. And those work great. I think it's a really great solution. That's what I would recommend you start with. You could put them on the side, excuse me, as a tail vise. You could put them sort of in a leg vise position. Those work great. The world of vices beyond that becomes pretty complex, and there's a lot of different options. It's outside of the scope of what we can answer here. But it does help to look at some established woodworkers and what they have on their bench. Typically, you'll find some commonalities there and different vices that can achieve those same things. So most people will have some kind of a leg vise, or you could even put a twin screw on that, on the face, the front edge of the bench, that goes across the short dimension, and that allows them to clamp things to the front of the bench. You can also then have some dogs placed there to clamp things from front to back, but you will almost always see someone with something on the long end of the bench all the way on the side. I'm like directing air traffic here. On the side, you can see twin screw vices, tail vices, shoulder vices. These allow you to use the entire length of your bench for work holding. So usually it's a combination of the two. You clamp from the front and clamp from the side. How you do that, that's the world of bench vices, and again, outside the scope of what I can answer for you today. But I do think quick release vices are a good, fairly inexpensive way to get into the game of vices and clamping, to learn what you need to learn about it, so that if you are going to invest in that next level kind of vice, maybe Andy's fancy twin screw, excuse me,
Dean Punky
turbo vice thingamajig.
He's gone turbo. How about have a drink?
I will. Sorry. So yeah, there's lots of expensive options out there.
Yes, there are many options.
Eric Cole.
How about
Sorry, guys.
you let me do something and you drink?
Chronic postnasal drip, man. I'm telling you.
I get it.
It's
a
beast.
We have
I don't even know how I get this show done every week.
Slowly but surely, one step at a time.
One throat clear at a time, Nicole.
We do have some super chats that came in.
Okay.
And do you want to read your next question, and then I'll do some super chats?
Okay. Eric Cole says, I picked up a cherry live edge slab over the holidays. It's designed to be a coffee table. I sent you a link for this if you want to put it in the chat. How do you clean the bark and the edge of the slab? There's a pocket of sapwood. It's a little bit punky, very soft. I may have to grind this area and reshape the edge. I've got a video for that.
Yeah,
I've only done one live edge slab piece. That's this video. It's a live edge slab coffee table. I show how I cut it down. I show how I treat the edge and sandblast and reshape the edge in areas where the grain was torn, and I wanted it to look live edge, so I kind of did something to make that happen. Check that video out. That can explain it way better than my words can.
In a much more time-efficient way, right?
Right.
All right, we got some super chats. We have one from Shane Bruner. So he says, just built tall tree. Didn't buy the guild plans, but I used the project and the pictures for a lot of inspiration. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad they helped out then.
Yeah. Scott Thomas says, did a super chat and said, for some cups of joe for you both. Your consistent efforts are truly appreciated. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We love cups of joe.
He's not doing the coffee today.
Stomach is off.
And then Brian Talbert says, Happy New Year. Thank you for another great year of content. Well, thank you, Brian.
You see J-Mac just sent a super chat for Marc's Mucinex fund? I do need some of that.
Yeah.
I need a Mucinex IV.
You do like a Sudafed though, right?
I took a Sudafed this morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Kurt Allen says, I'm doing a West Systems epoxy fill on some cutting boards I made to fill a few cracks before final milling and sanding. What's the best way to keep the epoxy from staining the surrounding wood, or do I just remill the boards to get rid of any staining? Tape. I use tape. If I've got a crack or any kind of hairline sort of thing, a little bit of blue tape, you just kind of run it on each side of the crack. If it's a wavy crack, it's a little bit harder because the tape is straight, the line that you're trying to tape to is not. But that's a good way to make sure you isolate the staining. And then you're probably, you asked if you resurface. Yeah, you probably should. But if you tape, you have a lot less to worry about, because even if you stain a little bit to the sides of the crack, it's a lot less noticeable than if it just kind of goes out to the sides, right? So you probably don't even have to surface it quite as much to make it so that it's not that easy to see those stains. Now, the question of whether you should use, the question you didn't ask about using West System epoxy in a cutting board, I'm not even touching that, but I assume you've done your research and you are confident in your decision to use that on a food surface, and with that situation, tape is going to be your best friend.
I just got well, not just, but I pulled it. Nicholas Moore said, I just found the TWW app. Y'all knocked it out of the park. And a bunch of people are looking for the app now. Mm-hmm. It is not my best work. I am very behind on updates, just everything with kids and all this stuff. So it is one of my goals for this year to rebuild my app.
Good.
For the Wood Whisperer.
Yeah, that used to be a huge priority.
It was a huge priority, and I loved it. It was fun to do. I actually got pulled from the Android store because I need to update it.
Oh.
So right now you can only get it on iOS. I will rebuild it and resubmit it and put it back on Android. Android is, I'm sorry, if you're a developer, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what she's saying.
What I'm talking about.
The legend DC says, what's the deal with Cremona?
What's the deal?
Is he overcompensating with his big truck, big bandsaw, big snowblower? I don't know.
What's big?
Oh, it's big. He does do big things. He slabs big lumber. He's got a big sawmill, big truck, big trailer. Cremona just likes things to be big.
Yep.
Hey, guess who's coming to the Wood Whisperer Ranch? Can we call this a ranch?
A ranch.
We're in a subdivision.
Yeah, we don't have horses.
Very little property, but I'm
No
going to call it a ranch.
cows. Across the street.
The TWW compound.
We can borrow the horses from across the street.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Cremona's coming to visit in a couple of days. He's coming in on Sunday and leaving on Friday. So I don't think he'll be here for, maybe he'll be here for Friday Live. I'm not sure. We might do a guild meeting with him here. Anyway, we try not to plan too much while this stuff is happening. It's really a for fun visit.
Is he gonna make us pancakes again?
I hope not. Too much baking soda last time. I will let him try again.
Try again,
I will let
Matt.
him redeem himself with these pancakes.
Too
much baking
There's
soda.
a lot of bite in this.
Or it might have been too much baking powder. I forget
Yeah,
which
I don't
one
know. It just burned.
Yeah, it tasted like Ajax. So yeah, Cremona's going to be here. It's going to be a good time. And maybe you can ask him yourself why he likes to overcompensate.
Kevin wants to know, so when's the meetup? Maybe I can plan a meetup. You want to do a meetup?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We have kids to deal with.
I know. Maybe.
So maybe.
Yeah.
That is a firm, solid, 100% maybe.
Maybe. I'll look into it.
Okay, Kurt Allen says, I already asked this question. David Wiggins has a twofer. He says, Happy New Year.
David in the chat said he also suffers from postnasal drip.
David Wiggins? Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 questions for the new year. Recently built a mobile kitchen island where the top is 8-quarter walnut and only 1 glue seam. The board's 15 inches wide. After the power knocked out of my shop heat overnight and before I brought it inside, I noticed I could feel the seam across about 80% of the length. Is this normal for glue-ups? What's weirder still is that it feels like both sides are on the high side. I can catch my nail going across either direction. Any way to prevent this? Or is this due to extreme temperature swing? I think what you're experiencing there, David, is called glue creep. So the reason it's high on both sides is it's actually not. It's probably level on both sides, even with each other. What you have is a glue line that is swolled. It's swolled up. It's swollen.
Swollen.
It's swollen. I just want to say swolled. It's sitting a little bit high. So what you're feeling is probably that glue line. Glue creep, we've talked about this on the show before. It's a little bit of a mystery to woodworkers in terms of how it happens, when it happens, what glues are prone to it, which ones are not. What I have found the best thing to do is once you see that develop, if you actually maybe do a grain raising, number one, that's a good preventative measure. If you let the glue joint sit, right, let it cure for a couple of days, then go back to it, do a grain raising with some water, and then sand it down, with 320, 220, whatever your highest grit is, then apply your finish. That goes a long way in helping prevent that from showing up again. Once it does show up, and this is something I found with cutting boards, other things where maintenance is part of the routine, if you take it back into the shop and sand it again and sand it back down, a lot of times it's not going to come back, or at least it's going to take a lot more effort to come back, right? So that's what I would recommend you do if you have a chance to do it. Just re-sand the top, not too aggressively, just enough to smooth it, and then hit it again with your finish of choice, and that should take care of it and at least make it less likely to happen. All that said, this is perfectly normal. It happens all the time. I probably have told this story before, but one of my big educational realizations in woodworking was after watching quite a few seasons of Woodworks, I went to visit David, and in his house, I put my hands all over his furniture, and I started to feel it, and I would feel the joints, and I would go, oh my gosh, I can actually feel, it was specifically his dovetailed bench that he did with the bandsaw and dovetails, where the pins and tails meet. I ran my hand across there, and I was like, oh, I can feel all this stuff. And I realized if that happens to David Marks, this is just woodworking, right? And that gave me permission to like realize that like that's okay, and you can fight it, and you could do things to try to prevent it. But ultimately, especially in a through dovetail situation, game over. It's always going to feel like
the wood's going to be what the wood's going to be.
It's going to do what it's going to do. But on a tabletop, big wide tabletop like that, yeah, there's a good chance you might feel those seams over time. So there it is. His second part to the question, he's building or thinking about, I guess, building kitchen cabinets. He says, will I gain any relevant strength using 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood as the back instead of quarter with nailers? I didn't know if this was a diminishing returns issue or if companies just try to save money. I want cabinets that will last as long as I want them to. Okay, so I do think cabinet builders are trying to save money, but also at the same time, as long as you're not buying like junk cabinets or made by someone who has no idea what they're doing, cabinets aren't just falling off the walls, right? They get loaded down with plates and cups and glasses, and they do their job. I actually think, like, when you attach a cabinet to a wall in a kitchen cabinet situation, it changes the rules a little bit in terms of what we expect from cabinetry. It's not a standalone anymore. It's now attached to the structure. That means it's very forgiving. So that's why a lot of cabinet carcasses, you can just go with 1/2 inch all around. You don't need 3/4 of an inch. We tend to overbuild, right? Because we're usually thinking about standalone pieces of furniture where we would want 3/4 of an inch. So when you're talking about that back panel, shoot, dude, I think you can go with no back panel at all. If you had strips that would allow you to secure it properly to the wall, and it would probably be fine. So if you did a full 1/4 inch back panel, even better. If you do a 1/2 inch, yeah, you're getting stronger, but now you're also making it heavier, and you're probably doing more than you absolutely need to. So I think I would go at least with a 1/4 inch back, but I don't really think it's truly necessary to go any more than that, and I don't think it's really going to buy you a whole lot of advantage other than the pride when you go to sleep at night to be like, well, at least my kitchen cabinets have 1/2 inch backs on them, and no one else's do. Like, it's one of those things. I don't think it's really totally necessary.
I got a super chat from Ben Bodner. Ben!
Big Ben!
Now that you're using finishes like Osmo and Rubio,
yes.
would you still finish the chest of drawers with Endurovar? What's Endurovar?
It's a water-based finish from General Finishes.
For its water-based, no smell/stain properties.
Probably not.
Happy New Year!
Probably not, Ben. Only because of my changing tastes. There are some projects though where, the type of project it is really required a different type of finish, and then like the hall tree. The hall tree was painted, part of it stained. It wasn't really
Painted?
It wasn't really an appropriate kind of project for one of those hard wax oil finishes, right? So it only made sense to use something else. For something like a dresser that lives in my bedroom, no, I don't think I would have used Endurovar if I built it again. I would probably go with one of those finishes. Does that mean that Endurovar wasn't a good choice? Absolutely not. It's a great choice. In fact, that dresser is still sitting on Nicole's side of the bed, and it's full of the kids' clothes. Because the kids get dressed in our bedroom.
I got the top tiny drawer in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, and it's full of
mine.
like batteries, chargers, notepads.
Just junk.
It's a junk drawer.
It's a junk drawer.
But yeah, I think Endurovar is a great finish, but is a film finish. I actually now, as my tastes have changed, I think that project would look better if it just had a hard wax oil finish on it. Just the appearance would be better.
So is this true? That's starting today?
No.
Oh, well then I got that wrong because it's on the calendars.
Oh, maybe. Oh, we moved it. I didn't tell you. I'm sorry. Matt and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago because he's coming out here.
Yeah.
We wanted. Oh, shnikes. We're talking about a live thing. We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
We got to do the viewing party with Matt here.
Oh,
the
there
preview
you go.
party.
Okay.
So that's why we pushed it back.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. We should communicate sometimes.
You should, because I manage the calendar, and if you change things on me, I don't know.
You're so big, and you're doing all the admin work and all
I know, I'm
behind the
so
scenes coding
busy.
of the website, like Donna said you do.
Donna's not incorrect. I do a lot. I just don't do everything.
You don't do anything with the website, really, though.
No.
I thought about this. I thought it would be fun one of these days to actually put on our about page what our job descriptions are. Mm-hmm. It's like people are convinced, well, not that Dougie's Instagram account is part of a job, but there are people who are convinced that I run that account because the jokes are really funny. and the comments are funny. And it's Nicole.
It's
Nicole's
me.
doing every time
It's me
every time I
talking.
load that up, I get a chuckle. I'm like, Dougie is a funny character, but lots of people think it's me
Yep.
on that account. It's not. And I guess because I put early on in the videos, Nicole was like the technical something.
Yeah, like one of the early, like one of the end screen caps or
Yeah.
something, like website designed by Nicole.
Right. And that was like back in our blogger early WordPress
Yeah.
days. And since then, our roles are very well defined these days.
yeah.
And we rely on a lot of other people outside of this team
Yeah.
here to help us bring everything
No way
to
could I
life.
do the website now.
No, that is solely in the hands at this point of John Funk, who
Yeah.
is killing it on a routine basis.
Yeah, we should put our team of people.
Yeah, the team and what we all do.
What do we do?
Everybody is very busy just doing different things, except for me.
Yeah.
I don't do much.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Paul, did I say that one? Yeah, Paul Engel. So I'm going to summarize this very quickly. Paul just got a Sawstop, and he's asking for my opinion about how to mount it. Apparently, there are two mounting options. He's got a very, it's a large size model. So he's got the outfeed and the extension wing. And you can install it, I guess, 12 inches further out of the extension wing, so you can get more width out of it, or you can install it just kind of flush with the extension. So he's asking my opinion on what would I do. And this comes down, Paul, this comes down to basically sheet goods, right? Are you cutting pieces that need extra width, that even exceeds the width of your table? That's the only reason to bring that outfeed, the overarm guard body to push it further out. For me personally, anything of that size, I'm cutting on the floor using a track saw, right? So mine's flush to the right side, and if I had a piece that was wide enough to hit it, it would absolutely hit it and obstruct it. In fact, I've got dust collection that's even closer than that. So I don't use the full width of the extension wing of my table saw. So depending on how you break down your sheet goods, that's what you're going to use to answer that question. There's no reason to go any further if you're breaking stuff down to more manageable size before it even gets to the table saw.
We have so many questions. It's crazy.
Well,
today.
it's been, we had a week off.
That's true, but
Pent up
still,
questions.
Pent up questions.
Because they're all pent up. You're all backed up.
We have a super chat from Chet Klaus. Klaus?
Oh, Chet.
Klaus? Is it Klaus?
Klaus.
Klaus. I'm building a child's desk, which is basically just a slab.
I think Chet just followed me on Peloton.
Oh, yeah?
Is that you, Chet? I think I saw you follow me. And I'm taking a break right now, just kind of chilling on exercise for a little bit. So anyone who's following me is like, oh, this dude is lazy.
He talks a lot.
He talks a big game, but I don't see his ass on a bike. Anyway, go ahead.
I said, which is basically just a slab mounted to the wall.
Yeah.
It will be easy to move the slab up the wall as the child gets taller. Any ideas on making the associated chair taller?
Oh boy.
It's not woodworking, but you know that thing that I would put underneath?
little booster?
The little booster. It's actually a really slick invention, and I can't remember the name of it. I gave it to Jason for the girls.
Well, regardless.
Anyway.
I like this idea though.
Yeah.
Build the chair to be its final size. And then build a couple of accessories that you can build it up. The hell? Just pulled my microphone off with my sweet bulging thighs. So build the chair to be its final destination, when a kid gets to be a teenager and they're sitting in normal sized chairs. And then just build extensions. And whether it's pieces that just make the legs longer.
Here it is. It's called caboosed.
So look at this caboosed thing and think about how you might be able to adapt something like that, or even use this product, right? This may be the solution.
It's $40.
But you may be able to adapt something very similar to slowly but surely break down these extensions, eventually ending in a totally usable regular chair.
Yeah. So you're saying build the desk.
Wait, I said it wrong.
You said it wrong. You need to
You
build
would build
the
a
desk.
small chair. No, the desk isn't part of it. It's just about the chair.
Well, no, you
You build a small chair with the extensions. Boy, that ruins my idea because that doesn't sound fun. My idea was like have a fully functional chair that then breaks down, but then it's going to be
caboosed.
Hold on.
Stop it.
I can't believe I'm spacing.
So what I would do was
I would
make the desk normal height.
So yeah,
and
you need the chair to be going up as time goes on, not down.
Down.
In my world,
In your
children
world.
shrink, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, well anyway, this caboose thing is something we put on our kitchen chairs to make them more comfortable for the kids.
You know what? They have it on Amazon too, I think. Yeah, they do. And I'm going to put it in our Amazon store.
Such a dummy.
So
Sorry, chat.
If you head on over to amazon.com/shop/The Wood Whisperer under Friday Live, you'll see this product and get the idea and the gist. They have different colors and everything. It's a slick piece of invention. Is that the word? No. Anyway, what's your next question?
I'm sorry. All right. Mike Davies. He says, I know you're not really resolutions people, but that you're goal-oriented. I think we've had that conversation in the past. So what are each of your goals for 2020? Happy New Year. Well, you mentioned the app.
Yeah, my app.
I guess that's a goal.
I really need to get that done. I got a list of things that I've just been kind of pushing. Mm-hmm. I also want to stop yelling at my kids. Mm-hmm. So I bought a book. I need to read those books. I want to read more. I want to work on my app. Yeah, those are two pretty good goals.
That's good. What's my goal? I want to do more what we did in 2019. I want to build more projects. I liked our productivity in 2019. I'd like to have more of that. One of our big goals is currently being implemented is to change some of the way we run things in the guild and the pricing structure and the flexibility and how we get guest instructors and things like that. So those are on my 2020 goal list.
Chet's like, I've stumped the spags.
Yeah, you did. Look, it's not that. This is my first day back thinking about woodworking in a month. It's going to be pretty easy to stump me today. All right.
Oh, that's funny.
Where are we? I'm looking at somebody
Chris
commenting.
Kalinowski said,
my bulging thighs.
Rockler makes quarter turn snap in connectors, so you could make different length legs and swap them out as needed.
Well, there you go.
Chris is the man.
There's an idea. Why build something if you could just buy it?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, where are we?
No, Jason doesn't want a mic. There's no way he would want to be on the show.
To get Jason a mic?
No.
Here's the thing with Jason. He talks and you might hear him in the background. He's not here today. But I have a feeling if you put a microphone on him, he would clam up.
You will never hear him.
It's the fact that you can barely hear him is the reason he says something. So that ain't going to happen.
Jason is a lot like me. If you have been with this show for a long time, there was a period of time I didn't even want to be on camera. Like, I was off to the side.
That's right. I remember that.
I did not want to be on camera.
Yep, and I kept pushing you.
Yeah.
Like, get on camera. Get on camera. Okay, Chris Kalnassi says, Mark, you have any tips on hand sawing? I've got all these Japanese saws. Okay, tough time. Any tips? He's looking for tips on hand saws. You know, I'm not your guy when it comes to hand tool tips for the most part, maybe more so in planes than saws. You know, Shannon, he's a good guy to talk about hand sawing with. So I'm just going to push that question. Push that question away. That said, one of the best things you could do with hand saws, if you're looking to get better, is to use them. Use them a lot. You know, that is one of the areas where I think muscle memory, familiarizing yourself with how the teeth cut, how the blade starts, how much pressure is required, the right angle of approach, all those little things, they will come with time. So if you take a board and not necessarily just really soft wood that you wouldn't use in a project scraps if you can. You need wood that's going to act the way that it will in an actual project. Lay that down on your bench and start making some cuts. Draw some lines, draw some square lines, draw some angled lines to simulate dovetails. Practice your cuts. It's a muscle memory, motion sort of thing. And the more time you put into it, the more comfortable you'll be with it. So yeah, you can get more tips and tricks from more experienced sawyers than me, but you're ultimately going to have to practice and get that time in.
Practice. What
else we got?
I got a question, super chat here from Kevin Windsor. Thank you, Kevin. He said Flonase works great for him on the Post Eagles.
I know. I got that's it's like a daily commitment though.
So I had some stuff going on, pressure in my ear, and I started using nasal cord, and that helped me a ton.
Yeah,
so
I'll look into it.
Maybe you should try my nasal cord.
So Darth Marcus says, "What's up, Speg?" So I just want to let you know, I am not totally hating Jedi Fallen Order anymore.
Oh, good.
I don't totally love it. I think that whoever designed that map system needs to get kicked in the nuts.
Okay.
or whatever reproductive parts
Sure.
they have.
All right.
But I'm still playing it, so there's that, because he loves that game.
He does?
He was visibly shaken by my dislike.
And then you were like, I better give it a second shot.
Well, I was like, well, if he says it's that good, I got to go back into it and give it another shot.
Yeah.
And I'm getting through it. I still just think it's majorly flawed in a lot of ways, but I'm playing through it. Okay, what else we got?
Got a super chat from Josh. Just about to the finishing stage of my Ruobo.
Yay.
Do you have a recommended finish?
Yeah, just like an oil. Boiled linseed oil, tried and true oil.
Oil.
If you got some like leftover Rubio that you need to use up, that's a decent candidate. I don't think you want a really thick film. I've mentioned this a couple times before. Slippery workbench is one that doesn't hold work very well, so you don't want a big thick film, but I mean just about anything. A workbench is a utilitarian thing. You're gonna beat it up and then refinish it, but again, for me, the simple is better, and just some kind of an oil finish is what I would use.
You've made Darth very happy.
Yeah, see? Jacob knows what I'm talking about. He says Fallen Order needs fast travel, and the map does suck.
Oh yeah, fast travel. I do like that about Outer Worlds. The fast travel is really fast.
Yeah, and you don't have to do anything crazy to get it.
Ness G's in the chat.
Ness!
Did a super chat and says, "Good day, Spags. Happy 2020 to you. Wishing you a great year."
Oh,
Cheers.
awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks. Vincent Sanders says he's ready to start his first plan. What would you suggest for the new woodworker?
First plan? What do you want?
Well,
what do you want?
Well, is he saying he's going to go get a plan, and which plan do we recommend? Or is he saying he's going to start his first project? What project do we recommend?
I'm thinking his first project. But my question is, well, what do you want in your house?
That would be my answer as well.
Yeah.
Anytime someone's, like, hey, I want to build something, but I don't know what to make. I'm a new woodworker. What do you want?
Yeah.
What does someone in your family want? Mm-hmm. Projects of consequence tend to give you the best lessons. So if you're just building stuff to build it, it's not quite as consequential if you make a mistake. You don't feel the pain of that messed up mortise, right? But if it's actually making a true thing that someone can use, and I say this all the time too, people love handmade stuff, and your family is very forgiving. So even if it's not your absolute best work, right? People will appreciate it. Someone will take that item and cherish it. So, I mean, most of us can get to the finish line on a basic project, even if it's not perfect. People will love it. So I say build something of consequence, something that you or someone else wants, try to hit that goal, and then learn along the way. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to pick your first project. If you're talking about like guild plans or something, the shaker table is probably your best choice for a beginner plan. Really good fundamentals in that. That was the first project added to the guild. That's a very good one if that's what you're asking me.
Let's see. Harl got another super chat from Elnrick.
El Diablo.
Elnrick. I'm building an audio rack, 24 inches by 30 inch shelves, 18-inch spacing, 250 pounds of gear.
350
Oh, sorry,
pounds.
350. That's even more.
Yeah, it is more, Nicole.
How thick do the 4 vertical support rails need to be to hold weight?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's like...
Go to like Sagulator,
Oh, okay.
look at like an online calculator for sagging, look at the material you're using, the thickness, and you'll get an idea on how much sag you can expect, and you could add reinforcement based on that. This is one of those cases where overkill is a good thing.
Oh, look, there's even the material on Sagulator. I wonder...
Yeah, you could pick the wood, you could pick plywood, things like that. And that'll kind of give you an idea of what you can expect, but this is one of those cases with that much gear, you are probably going to want to overbuild this thing a little bit.
350 pounds.
So it's a little hard for me without seeing the exact gear, seeing the exact materials. But I think you're going to want to do things like reinforce the shelves, make sure that those have some kind of extra edging on them to make them a little bit stronger. This is one of those cases where I think overkill is worth it.
So Ness is in Australia, and those crazy fires are going on right now in Australia.
Oh, no.
And she said that she's on the other side of the country, so she's safe.
Okay,
I'm really,
well, good.
Really glad to read that, Ness.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. We got another super chat from Josh Worst. The Worst.
Josh Wurst? I put some of that on my hot dogs once in a while.
They have...
Sprinkle a little Josh Wurst on there.
In Outer Worlds, they have the bratwurst, the worst.
Yeah.
Or not the worst, but...
I know what you
anyway,
mean, okay.
sorry, Josh. It's
Borst Wurst or something like that?
Boerwurst.
Boerwurst?
Yeah.
Wurst? Yeah, okay.
Spacer worst. You have talked about adding wax to tried and true finish. Is there a reason to do this instead of using the tried and true finish that has wax in it?
Yeah, because the tried and true that has wax in it doesn't seem like it's got wax in it. I'm not knocking the product. I think in order to make the product what it is and make it work properly, there can't be so much wax in it that it causes it at room temperature to become solid. When I talk about adding wax to like the final coat of a finish, I'm actually talking about enough that once that cools down, you can actually see the wax solidify in it, and that creates a nice barrier to moisture. It's a good final coat for one of these oil wax finishes. So yeah, I mean, you could still use that, but it's definitely not doing the same thing that I'm talking about. I think it's just simply the quantity of wax that's in the mixture that's making the difference when I add that wax to it.
I got another super chat here from Ben Ackenberg. Because Marc doesn't get credit, the credit he deserves for making us all laugh, wigs and all.
You see that? You see that, Nicole? Somebody cares.
Somebody appreciates.
Ben cares and appreciates my humor.
Yes.
Thank you, Ben.
I do too. Ryan Hagen.
Did I tell you about...
Come on.
Sometimes it's just stupid stories come into my head. And anytime I think of Ben, I think of the Mark Adams trip.
Yeah.
And I think of eating dinner at a Denny's and realizing that Ben is the loudest human being I've ever had dinner with. And you know who's a close second? Tom Iovino.
Oh, yeah.
There are some people who just operate at a volume that's louder than the norm that you go, this is not a person I would want to take to my favorite library. Absolutely not. Because their version of whispering would be like Mateo screaming for peanut butter and
Pizza
crackers
bites.
and pizza bites for
Pizza
dinner.
bites. Mom, pizza bites.
Mom! Ben is great.
I hope you're laughing.
I'm sure he is. He knows he's loud.
Ryan Hagen says, I can't stay to watch, but thank you for the audio version, which is awesome.
Oh, good.
Hoping to finally get around to building the platform bed this year.
I hope you guys have noticed that there's been an audio quality change on because I've been using the separate thing to capture the audio.
How much time do we have left?
About 15 minutes.
Okay.
Instead of stripping it from the video, it's a standalone audio recorder that actually captures this at a much higher quality. So.
Well, there you go.
All right, what else we got?
I have a lot of questions that I grabbed. Woo.
Wait, do I have any more Patreon? Did I do all of mine?
I have one more Patreon.
My last Patreon is from Charles Masters. He says, since you now look like you use the Incra sled most of the time, do you still use a zero insert throat plate? I do, Charles, but not because of the zero clearance. I use it because I don't want stuff to fall down into the space. Now, if you are using both sides of the Incra 5000, you're pretty much protected, right? It's giving you zero clearance, nothing's gonna fall down in there. Sometimes I'm too lazy to put that second support board on, so the right side is open, in which case I don't want that open to the inner workings of the saw. I still just throw the same insert on top of it and call it done.
I do have a Patreon question. It was put on the recap, but I'll give you a pass, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Smith says, I managed to break my 1-inch ReSaw King blade, bandsaw blade while resawing a long piece of stock.
Bummer.
Are you aware in any way to repair a blade like this? And secondly, does Dougie have a neck? Yes, Dougie has a neck.
No, I mean, do any bulldogs have necks?
I mean, he does.
It's a stub wrapped in fat, wrapped in wrinkles.
I have the collar. I can pull him along, and
Yeah,
the collar will come off of his head.
He does have a collar. It barely fits.
But it
on
comes right off of his head if I ever have to pull on it.
Yeah, it's just a straight line.
Yeah.
So, that is a really expensive blade. That is not the kind of blade you want to break. If I were to try to repair that, it would be a call to Laguna. I would be asking them, what are my options? When it comes to a bandsaw blade, if there are any kinks in that band, you wind up with this like rattling. The blade will never perform the same if you don't get it perfectly like trued and tuned up. So I know that I would not repair that. I would not have the skill set to repair that. In addition to the break, I'd be concerned about any kinks or any other bends or anything that might be in the band. So I, like I said, would recommend calling Laguna, since they do actually do sharpening of the ReSaw King blades. Maybe they would do some kind of a repair for you. I don't know. But contact them. They would be the best people to ask. But I do have minimal hopes when it comes to a bandsaw blade breaking that the repair will result in a perfectly good blade, right? Because again, the kinks can really just throw things off.
Yoso did a super chat, not a super chat, he just did a Patreon question.
Yoso!
I just so happen to be looking. I'm currently in the process of designing my new shop. It's a smallish 2-car. I plan on making a long row of cabinets on one side with my miter saw and then roll flip top carts underneath. So my question is, what is the height of your cabinetry in your shop? Are you happy with the height and how does it compare
34?
with your height?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me go look.
Didn't you put these measurements in the plans?
Sure. But are they in my head to answer right now? I need to get up anyway and stretch my back. I'm kind of leaning forward uncomfortably. Okay, ready?
Tape measure.
Hold on.
Is the miter station the same size as this side?
It's 36.
36 on the miter station cabinets.
36 inches.
Is that 36 too?
Yeah,
They're both 36?
I aim for about that. I knew it was either 34 or 36.
Yeah. So here we go. 36, Yoso.
So about 36, I find to be a comfortable working height. What I did to establish that was I went into my kitchen. You know, you think about the things that you do in the kitchen, the kind of work that you do with those spaces. That can help you determine the height. I like, in general, for cabinetry, I kind of like a little bit of a taller space. It gives me more storage space underneath. And really with my cabinets, I'm not actively working at them. The miter saw station, you've got the ability to drop that down a little bit to bring the work surface flush with the top if you do something like I did. If you are using the saw right on top of your cabinet, keep that in mind, because if you now have your comfortable working height at 36 inches and then you put a 4-inch table surface for a miter saw on top of that, your miter saw is now 4 inches higher. That may be uncomfortable. So you have to gauge these things depending on what you're doing at them. But for me, 36 works out quite nicely. That is also, they're also propped up a little bit. So I may have aimed for like 35 and it ended at 36 because I have floors that are all wonky. And did he say, how does that relate to my height?
Yeah, like, did you do anything related to your height
for
that?
No, I didn't really, other than like this was comfortable for me or comfortable for the average person. I'm about like 6'5", right? So I'm 5'11" on a good day, and that 36 inches works for me.
All right, we got a lot of questions from the live chat that I want you to be fast.
Okay.
Try to be fast. Rapid fire questions.
What are you trying to say, Nicole?
I'm trying to get you to 1 hour on that.
Okay.
Okay. Kit Murphy, what's the largest size capacity? What's the largest?
Okay, hold on. You can't ask me to answer fast if you can't ask the questions
I'm
fast.
trying.
Asking Nicole to read quickly is always a good time.
Yeah. What's the largest size capacity of your shop? I've been asking to do a mixture of bookcases and raised panels in one piece for a swivel or rotable for a hidden room. Basically, how big's your shop? 900 square feet.
No. I think he's asking, what's the biggest project you could accommodate in your shop? Whatever will fit out that garage door, right?
Yeah.
If I were building it for clients or even for us, it's got to go through a doorway. Whenever you're building big stuff, think about doors. Think about hallways. You've got to consider the angle, how you're going to get these things out. For me, it was a bunk bed. That was the biggest thing, but I could break it down. I had to break it down.
The hall tree was
The hall tree was a big pain
one.
in the butt too,
Yeah.
because that couldn't break down in the
Right.
same way. But we did. We broke it down into parts. So you have to think about breaking things down, design it so that it breaks down easily, and also think about where it's going and the doorways and hallways you need to get through.
Chris wants to know if you use a chair at the Ruobo for woodworking, not just Friday Live.
Yeah, not this one usually. A lot of times I've got a small chair bought years ago. Geez, that might even be a California purchase. That little Goodyear blue rolling chair.
Yeah.
It's like an auto mechanic type chair. It's meant to be very low. I use that all the time because that allows my knees, like where I'm sitting right now, my knees cannot get under the bench top.
Right.
This is too high. So when I want to be comfortable at the workbench, I got to get my thighs under there. I need a low chair for that.
Craig Chagrin Harmon, I'm sure I just
Sure.
butchered your name, just said, been in meetings all morning. Sorry, I missed most of the live show. Here's some coffee money. Happy New Year. Thanks, Craig.
Businessman in meetings. I'm a businessman. Sorry.
I used to be a businesswoman.
That's
Gary Grimm.
exactly what you did too. There's Nicole going to work, dancing like Elaine.
Carrie Grimm, is there a really common finish for kitchen cabinets? I'm making them out of quarter-sawn oak plywood, if that changes anything.
I think if you go into the industry, you're going to find lots of common finishes that you and I probably wouldn't access.
Matt called you Thunder Thighs.
I am Thunder Thighs. I'm going to strangle him with them Thunder Thighs when he comes here. But as typical home shop users, it's all the same stuff we usually can choose from. If you have an HVLP system, you're going to be better off. You might be looking at things like a conversion varnish, right, or a pre-catalyzed lacquer. But outside of that, protective finish, or think about the look that you want. How dirty are they going to get? You have to think about the same things you would think about for any piece of furniture with the finishes we have access to.
Kevin O knows that you have a Domino for quick and easy. Would you consider / recommend a pantarouter as an alternative that's perhaps not as quick and easy, but more versatile? Oops.
Not really. I had a multi-router, which predates the pantarouter, and is a great machine, and I never used it. And the reason I never used it is because, mostly because of the show. It was one of those things where it was like, all right, I've got the multi-router and the Domino. One of them has to go because I'm not even using them. I got rid of the one that takes up the extra space. The amount of things you can do with the Domino and the amount of space it occupies in a shop means, hands down, unless you have very specific things that you think the pantarouter is going to accomplish for you, I think the Domino is the better, smarter purchase.
I love this one. He says, starting from the mid-1600s, can you give a brief history of woodworking?
Absolutely.
You have until 10:30.
All right.
It's 10:30.
Let's start with vices.
Okay.
Vices. It is not spelled the way you would think it's spelled.
I know.
It comes from the Latin word meaning to hold crap. Okay. Go ahead.
Also, I was letting you.
You thought I was actually going to give real.
I was going to give you the space to fill the bowl.
Yeah. Okay.
Richard, Albert, Happy New Year to y'all. Looking for a new dado stack for my cabinet saw, and I want something better than my old Freud. I'm not sure I want to spend $280 for the Forest stack. Do you have any recommendations?
Datonator.
Datonator.
I got the Datonator Junior, and I get upset every time because it's the Junior version. They make two of them. The Junior is smaller. I love it, but there are some times when I need the blade to get a little bit higher, and I don't have that capacity.
So there's the Datonator Junior right there, which is $209.
Yeah, so I like the Datonator, but that is also not super cheap.
Yeah.
Freud does make, if I'm not mistaken, more than one dado stack.
This is the super dado stack.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they make one that one that's 165 there.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty darn good. So maybe you don't
It gets great reviews.
Yeah.
290
Like I don't know
reviews.
what Freud you have that you're graduating from, but I think if it's that one, then and you're looking for something better, then you have to look at something like the Datonator or the Forest Dado King.
I'll put it in our Friday Live category on the Amazon store, just so you know what we're looking at. So Amazon.com/shop/The Wood Whisperer.
Yeah, I like the title, Woodworking, A Brief History for $5.01. That's good. Good stuff.
Funny stuff. I got a question here. So that was from Richard. This is from Mike. You've been doing the Guild for a long time.
I have.
Has the emergence of all the other recent pay collaborations affected Guild membership?
Yeah, we're going to raise our prices.
No.
Not at all.
Think so.
I mean, the thing is, we also aren't doing the sort of market research that like a big company might do to see how did 2019 get impacted by the existence of a few other similar things. We don't pay attention to that.
We run our own race.
We'll always run our own race. Our primary goal is to continue providing the best service we can for the people who like what we do. Worrying about whether these other companies or these other people impact our sales or not is a great way to start going in the wrong direction for us. We honestly, and this is tooting our own horn a little bit. I'd like to think that we set the standard, we set the goal, and I don't think anyone even comes close at this point. I'm sure there are. I know, like Mary May, for instance, her classes. If you're into carving, top notch, right? There's nothing better than that. She does a great job. But if you're looking for general woodworking instruction, I don't think you're going to find anything that comes close to what the Guild offers. And that's because I make content that I would want to be like university level stuff that I would enjoy watching. And I think, tooting my own horn, I think we do a great job at that, and we get some very talented people in there to work with us. So all that said, no. We had probably, we have to talk to the accountant to know for sure, but we probably had our biggest earnings year in 2019. The guild is going stronger than ever, and if anything, when I look at the other paid platforms, assuming that they don't sour people on the experience,
That's the only thing that I worry about.
There is a risk that the more of these that happen, people are just like, they're fatigued on it. Enough with this, your paid thing, whatever that is. That fatigue can be a real thing, and that might impact people. But we've been providing the same quality since day one. And if you're disappointed by another company, you might come to us and go, okay, this is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So as long as we keep hitting our quality goals, and the quality of the content and the variety of projects, it's going to be fine.
We try to, I know I come from a software background, so for me it's always what's the user experience like, and trying to make that better.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Absolutely, and that's the thing with the guild too. We don't just cobble together a site and then throw some videos on it and make promises that we don't keep.
Right.
We make promises, we keep those promises, and we keep iterating on the website to make it as good of an experience as possible. We don't wait till people ask us for things to do them. Although we actually do make improvements when people ask for them. I try to think, how would I want this site to be better? What can we do with it? And I talk to John, and we try to make it happen and roll it into the website. So we're very frequently coming up with updates. To make the experience
You're getting
better.
a lot of nice compliments about the guild, and like Greg says, don't change what you do. I love it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, and I'm bullish on it. I'm bullish on it because I'm extremely proud of it, and especially when I look at that year in review, the quality of people that we're working with now and getting
I'm
into
excited
the
about
guild.
a new one that might be coming in.
Yeah, we've got a potential new one that I think you guys are going to like. A very good female woodworker.
Not me, not me,
Nicole.
not me. I'm not a female woodworker.
But I do tend to be bullish on it because I'm super proud of it, and I do see what else is out there, and I know we're awesome. That's what it comes down to. Our free stuff, whatever.
No, it's
I'm
great
just kidding.
too. I've always looked at the free
That's
side
another
as the
thing.
funnel.
Well,
too.
I'm not I don't follow the path that everyone else follows.
Right.
I've always just kind of been doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Did you guys see David Picciuto's video he did recently?
You told me about it.
Yeah, he put up a video on Make Something. If you don't know that channel, he put up a video about how just this routine, this schedule, this challenge of being a YouTuber, making content, what that does to you, and that he's not even excited to get into the shop, and he's making changes in 2020 to allow him to enjoy his experience, and it's like, well, yes, do that. Like, that is the thing. Let's not just keep, not saying that he is pumping out junk content, but if you have to pump out content at that pace, quality will get sacrificed somewhere, and passion could be sacrificed somewhere eventually. That's why he's making this change, and that's called the long game, And I even left a comment for him too, because I'm like, there's no shame in the long game, right? And that's what we've been playing since day one. It's always about a long-term career doing this and trying to do right by people.
Ben did a super chat and says, waiting on the Nicole scroll saw series.
I'm waiting for the scroll saw to come out from its wrapper.
I know.
Okay, what else do we
Maybe
got?
that should be my a goal this year, is to do a few more projects in the shop with you.
No, that's all right. I don't know how we got.
Doesn't want me in the shop.
Not sure how we got here, but maybe we go back to the quick fire challenge questions. All right, are we good?
Oh, I have so many. By the way, I don't know if he's still there, but our friend Tyler was in the chat earlier.
Tyler was here?
Yeah, he was here.
Go to work, Tyler.
He probably is not even here anymore. He's probably like, oh, they're talking woodworking. I'm out of here.
They're not talking about anything interesting.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Tyler? That's hilarious.
Kevin wanted to know what we got each other for Christmas.
I got Nicole a couple pieces of jewelry.
I'm wearing.
She doesn't ask for jewelry very often.
No.
She's not a really a jewelry girl.
No, I'm not really.
But when she asks for them, she gets them.
Aw, thanks.
I also bought her, and this was a ruined gift.
Yeah.
I bought her tickets to a concert, which was our first concert we saw together.
Yeah, he's coming back around.
Yeah, David Gray.
David Gray.
And it was
20 years later.
in San Diego. 20 years later. That was before were we even dating yet?
No, I took you to that concert before we were dating.
And I was like,
No, it was the day after we started dating.
that's what it was.
Because we were like, this would have been so weird to go to
If we weren't
if we weren't together.
doing this thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's him doing a 20-year tour with that album.
Yeah,
the same
White
album
Ladder.
that he had at the time.
Yeah.
So they're playing at Red Rocks.
Yep.
So I was like, she's gonna love this.
And we've
So,
never been to Red Rocks, so.
Yeah. So if
That
we
was
can
an
get a
awesome gift.
babysitter, it's gonna be an awesome night.
I got him a fireplace.
Look, I like to burn things.
He does like to burn things.
And let me just put this out there, because Jason and I talked about this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a guy thing or just a human thing. You guys like to burn stuff?
Yeah.
Just to watch stuff burn.
I remember burning stuff with my dad all the time.
I can sit there and stare at flames in like this weird meditative state for a very long
We
time.
had a barrel that we would go and burn the toilet paper. We lived
Yeah.
in the country. So we just go and burn trash.
Yeah, so it's she got me one of those nice stainless steel fire pits, little solo bonfire
Solo.
pit, which is great. I love
They
that
get
thing.
you with the Instagram marketing.
Those ads.
Yeah.
And I also got a sous vide machine.
Oh, from your mom?
From my mom.
Yeah.
That was cool. So I can do like a almost a reverse sear sort of situation
Yeah.
on my meats.
Some good steaks.
Yeah,
came
I
from
did
that.
make some good steaks, right?
And what else? Oh, I got him a drone.
Because I think it's going to start a fire as soon as this is done. You do that, man. I want to see that on Instagram too.
All
All right, what else we got?
I have other questions.
Unfortunately,
but,
it's split into
yeah.
two files.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Oh, did it already split into
Yeah,
two
we're
files?
over an hour.
All right, so we can talk.
Kindlin.
Kindlin.
Exactly, he's going to use the kindlin. You guys remember that joke?
Yeah.
Whoops.
Kindlin.
Got to use the kindlin. Good stuff.
Tyler wants to know if you have any updates on the CNC. We don't. Nothing yet.
We talked to them and they said, I think because it was the end of the year,
Yeah.
it was a little bit tough for them to work that into the budget. So if CNC is coming, it will be this year.
Yep.
And when, I don't know, because when you have a sponsor, you don't bug them.
No.
You say, here's something I want, maybe please. And if they respond, they respond. And
Josh Smith, Mark, I built some cutting boards for people for Christmas. Oh, what?
Poor Jeannie. She said I used to light fires until my apartment burned down.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Legit
Yeah.
concern there, Jeannie.
Yes. Yeah. So made some cutting boards for Christmas. I had one board so far that the grain popped, even though I wet the board before sanding at 220. I used beeswax and mineral oil mix. Why do you think that might have happened?
You may have, after you do the water pop on there, maybe you sanded too aggressively. You know, sometimes if you sand too much, you're essentially resetting the wood back to raw wood. And you can get a little bit more of that, fuzziness in the grain. But you know what? Sometimes it just happens. So what I would usually do in that case, especially if you've already done that treatment and the oil is on there, get a little bit of wet dry sandpaper, 220, put a little oil on there and wet sand it into the surface. That way you're going to knock down the high spots and also apply the next coat of oil, wipe off the excess, and that should give you a nice result.
Let's see, I got another question here from Jack Dalby. What brand of jigsaw and trim router have you used and what features do you appreciate in them?
Let me see the question.
Jigsaw and trim router.
Okay. So the jigsaw is the Milwaukee. The trim router is the DeWalt. I like, of course, for the trim router, it's very compact. It's just a good format to have if you need, if you're ready to buy that extra router. I don't think it's a good primary router, but it's good enough. It's got that little plunge adapter too, so you could use the fixed base or the plunge, which is kind of a game changer with that thing. So I like that. I would prefer
It's this one, right?
Yeah.
Or is it
the little DeWalt. No. That's the battery power one.
Okay.
It is corded.
Okay.
So probably
this one says cordless.
Yeah, so it's probably 119. They do make a cordless version.
Yeah.
But I got the little plunge base that goes
Yeah.
with it. So for the Milwaukee jigsaw, it's a jigsaw. I don't ask too much out of a jigsaw. The reason I like the Milwaukee is because it's the same batteries I use for everything else. And that's the reason why I don't have the battery-powered version of the DeWalt, is because I don't want DeWalt batteries. I have sworn off multiple battery brands. So if a company even if it's not the best version of the tool, if a company makes the tool and has it with the battery-powered version in the batteries that I keep, I'm going to get the Milwaukee because then it's consistent and I don't have multiple chargers. So,
Brandon, your dad joke is on point.
that's a good one. I could have used that today.
Nathan wants to know how you keep Purple Heart from bleeding into maple when sanding.
By not putting them together. Good dust collection. It's a big challenge. Maple wants to pull all that dust. Anytime you have a brightly colored exotic next to maple, it's really hard to prevent that stuff from bleeding over. And when you apply finish, it gets even worse. But basically, good dust collection and then wiping, the dust away, and trying to be careful not to wipe from the Purple Heart into the maple. Wipe the other way and then use a clean part of the rag if you're doing that as a wipe down. But generally, it's just a very big challenge to put those woods together and not get any bleed.
Let's see. Nicholas wants to know, what are the secrets for dissecting complex trim to recreate Chippendale style?
I don't know. I'll let you know when I do it.
Did Matt do that with the Highboy?
I know he did a lot of dissection of trim in that one, so he certainly has done that.
Yeah.
But breaking it down into its various
like pieces,
coves and beads and things like that. I've never really, if you see the stuff that I make, I don't really do a lot of traditional furniture. So that's where you're going to find a lot of those crazy profiles and stuff. So I don't have a whole lot of experience in breaking those down.
Let's see. Gary Badger, have you done a beaded face frame cabinet? If so, how'd you go about making the bead? Happy 2020. Go TWW Cube.
I haven't.
No.
I haven't. If I did, though, there are router bits out there that do nice beading like that. Depending on how you're constructing it, sometimes you can kind of make a fake bead. I remember David Marc's coffee table that he did, the Bubinga top coffee table, has this bead around the rails. And the bead is just an add-on piece, right? So it's just a piece that has a little bull nose to it that was sandwiched on both sides of the rail, and now you've got this beautiful little bead there. So that might be something to look into as well if the router bit option isn't appealing for some reason.
Which one of these Milwaukee jigsaws do you have?
Whatever the newest one is. I don't know. I'd have to look. I can't tell you right now. They make too many varieties.
They do make like the D handle and...
And Varick13 says, have you looked at the Milwaukee cordless router that just came out? I bought one and it seems real nice. I have not. It's on my list because I do want to, as much as I like the DeWalt, if I can get a cordless version, that would be so handy to have around. So I am going to look at that one.
Oh, you look at that.
You purchased this item on October 9th,
so I'm going to put in
2018.
In the Friday Live category.
Thank you,
the
Amazon.
One that you purchased.
There you go. 5 stars.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a good jigsaw. It's perfectly capable. Does everything I need it to do.
Let's see. Steve Hayes, what are any thoughts regarding the Work Sharp
Milwaukee, says Scott.
Work Sharp Ken Onion knife sharpener? What is that?
Well, Nicole, us knife people. There's a guy named Ken Onion.
Yeah.
He's not actually an onion. That's his last name.
Yeah.
The Ken Onion knife sharpener. I have it. I've used it. I use it to sharpen our kitchen knives sometimes. It's a little belt system, handheld belt system. It's actually really clever. It seems to work great. I mean, I got no complaints about it. So specifically for sharpening knives, we're not talking about shop
Is it
tools.
That right there?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh. Well, there
We're
you
not
go.
talking about shop tools and straight edges. We're talking about, crazy kitchen knife edges that are a little bit harder to do on a stone.
So wait a minute. What's the difference between this is like $60 and this one's $120?
I don't know. It's Amazon. There's like 10 versions, and one of them comes from some weird foreign guy sitting in a room in a closet with something that's not actually that product that he's going to send you. I don't know. Okay. Look into it. But it's Work Sharp. I think that's the appropriate price.
Okay. I'll check to see if you bought this one.
Yeah.
No, you didn't buy that one.
No, I bought it directly from Work Sharp.
Oh, okay.
So I like it. I think it's good. I think that one of the best ways to sharpen those kinds of blades is with a belt, and they give you all these different belt grits and all this stuff, and it's quite a contraption. It really is.
There you go.
And then you can sit at the kitchen table sometimes and just go, I like to do that after 10 o'clock when the kids are sleeping.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Okay.
One has a guide and the other doesn't. Thank you, Salty GX.
Chris wants to buy my DeWalt if I wind up going to the Milwaukee.
Alrighty.
The only way I'll get the Milwaukee is if it has a plunge base. Do you guys know if the new Milwaukee trim router has a plunge base?
I don't know.
Someone says there's already one listed under Marc's Tools on Amazon, but I don't know what one is.
Yeah.
This guy says one has a guide and the other doesn't.
Yeah, I just said that. And I said, thank you, Salty G.
I just work here.
Josh Smith, I grabbed his question earlier. Mark, I've already asked that one. Never mind. Josh, I already got you.
It's Algonquin for the good land.
Oh, Tyler, best finish for hand-carved pieces, something that I can't finish inside the house without the wife kicking me out. Wouldn't it be like
oil?
Oil?
Yeah, some kind of an oil that you can kind of soak in, you could dab into nooks and crannies, and then wipe out the excess or get a little compressed air to blow it out if it's pulled. And that's not going to really stink up the house that much. That's probably what I would do.
All right.
We're good?
The kids are getting restless.
Okay.
There's a much more questions. We'll get you on the next one.
We're going to do another show.
Yeah.
Next Friday.
Well, what's the goal? How many shows? 50? I missed 4?
No, there will be no goal set on Friday Live.
Okay.
Attendance.
Okay.
Like, the show just happens. That's good enough.
Yes.
Okay. Have a great woodworking weekend, everybody. Welcome to 2020.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a safe, prosperous, and productive, especially. Hope you get a lot of projects under your belt this year.
Yay. I'm looking at 2 that need to be done.
2 hang chairs, partially done.
We don't have any space for them. And I told Mark, I said he should finish them and then we could sell them.
Well, I did the hang chairs, and I did them as part of the lesson series. I actually filmed some stuff to supplement the joinery discussions. So now I had these parts sitting here, and over the break, I'm like, this is my time to do it, right? I'm not going to film it. There's nothing to do with it. I just have to build them. And I only got in here like twice. And they are glued together, but they are not ready. They need to be cleaned up. I need to make the seat frames and do the upholstery. But in the end, I'm like, what am I going to do with 2 giant hang chairs in a house that's already full of chairs that we don't need?
You know what? There's that commission place down in Denver that wants anything that you make.
Really?
They said that they would, yeah, I have their information.
Why? Why do they want my stuff?
To sell it.
I'm terrible.
So make the hang chairs and we can
And sell them?
And we can give them to the...
And then I'll give the money to jewelry?
There you go.
Can I say they're a jewelry original?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we got to pick winners.
Oh yeah, winner, chicken
Well, not
dinner.
winners. It's not plural, Tyler.
Yeah.
Slow down there, sir.
That was on the holiday show.
Yeah.
I said I was only going to give like 5 projects out. I gave more like 10 projects out last time.
Oh, Milwaukee does have a plunge base, according to Varick 13.
Well, there you go.
Good to know. Maybe I will go and buy myself that.
Okay.
Okay, you want
So
to pick a winner?
I'm going to give the free project
Oh, my bag.
to Aaron Pena.
Okay.
Aaron Pena.
Congratulations, Aaron.
Congratulations.
Email Nicole.
Email me, Nicole@thewoodwhisperer.com, and I'll get you set up. And Gary Grimes, if you're watching, I need to see what you won. I don't think you won. I think it was during the holiday show. I'm not sure what, but I'll look in my notes. I got your email. I'm sorry. It's just been crazy.
I misread what Ness said. I looked at this very quickly, and I thought she said, enjoy your weekend poops. I'm like, how does she know? How does she know that I'm having a problem today? Coincidentally, I will most likely be pooping all weekend. There's that. Antibiotics. That's great. Okay, have a great weekend. So excited to have a whole new year of Friday Lives with you guys.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Toodles, my noodles.